If I stab someone, that's not assault, that's alternative cutlery demonstration. Hey guys, River the Rage here. Hope you're having a fantastic day, and welcome to another episode of Mad Millennial Monday. On this episode, we're going to be talking about something I didn't think we'd be talking about. So, it's kind of been sort of a quiet week, right? There's some stuff going on, but nothing that really has gotten under my skin that's made me kind of pissed off. Just normal. The past week was sort of normal, not too many, typical politicians and protests and inauguration stuff, yada yada. But there's something that did piss me off that and that's the point of this, is to be the Mad Millennial on Monday. That's the point of the series. But what ticked me off was what happened at Trump's inauguration, right? And it's not that he was inaugurated and I hate him as president, whatever. That's stupid. That's a stupid argument to make, right? He is the president. We got to deal with it. It's terrible. He's going to be a terrible president, calling it now. But we're dealing with it. Okay. So with the inauguration, right? People are pissed because they took photos, right, that were, at approximately the same exact time, maybe off by a few minutes. And there's some photos and they show the National Mall. So if you guys know what the National Mall is, the National Mall is the bit of land from the Washington Monument, so like here, to the past the reflecting pole and all that, all the way up to the president, where the president gets inaugurated, like over here. So basically this big stretch of land. And at Trump's inauguration, there was a lot of empty space in that portion of land. And then at Obama's administration, there wasn't. People were packed for Obama's. So basically, Trump's current mouthpiece, Kellyanne Conway, has decided that she's going to take to the floor yet again and show her own stupidity and that of her employer, Mr. Trump, or as I should say, President Trump now, that she's just completely retarded, completely biased, and is, terrible. So let's go ahead and get on with this. Alright, so we can see here we have a video for this, and I want to use video proof. I didn't want to use something transcribed because I want you to see it in her own words, with her own mouth, that she said this, and I'll just let you guys watch. Now, I'm not a fan of NBC, MSNBC, CNN, Fox News, any of the major news outlets that you see on cable, because they just piss me off. Now, stuff like Huffington Post, Washington Post, New York Times, that's fine, because they're just like newspaper outlets. They're not really, they can have a bias, but they generally are more objective than the mainstream cable news, because the cable news reached out to more people. Anyway, that's a whole different video topic. Let's go ahead and just watch the video. I'll break it down as we go.
Then explain you did not answer the question. Why did the president send out his press secretary, who's not just the spokesperson for Donald Trump? He also serves as the spokesperson for all of America at times.
Okay, so what he's saying is Sean Spicer, who is the spokesperson of the White House, basically. And Trump sent him out there in a video recently that said, that basically in the video, he was up there giving this little speech of like, the media's lying, the picture's fake, they took it from a weird angle, so it looks like there's less people, this is false, this is false, this is false. Okay, so typical, so something you'd expect from Trump, calling the media liars, saying this, that, and the other, and sometimes they do lie, but it's not as exaggerated and against Trump as you think. But basically, Sean Spicer went out there and said all this crap of like, the media's lying, this, that, and the other, and there were a bunch of people. We filled the National Mall. We did this, that, and the other. And it's like, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. We have the pictures to prove it.
Speaks for all of the country at times. Why put him out there for the very first time in front of that podium to utter a provable falsehood? It's a small thing, but the first time he confronts the
fair point.
It's a falsehood?
Now that's a very fair point.
Chuck, I mean, if we're going to keep referring to our press secretary in those types of terms, I think that we're going to have to rethink our relationship here. I want to have a great open relationship with our press, but look what happened the day before, talking.
She wants a great open relationship with the press, but Trump didn't allow CNN, they didn't get a press pass to the inauguration because CNN's fake news. Now, are CNN, left establishment asshole fucking biased because they're donors? Yes. Yes, they are. Right? That's completely true. But to say they're fake news, like, bitch, what? Like, what are you talking about? So she's sitting up there giving the typical line of she's gonna dodge the question and then continue to talk shit like, oh, I want to have a great relationship, but my administration that I work with just banned a news outlet. They just banned a press outlet from the inauguration because they don't like them. Okay, great way to start your relationship with the press.
Falsehoods. We allowed the press to come into the Oval Office and witness President Trump signing executive orders. And of course, the Senate had just confirmed General Mattis and General Kelly to their 2 posts, and we allow the press in. And what happens almost immediately? A falsehood is told.
That I cannot, confirm or deny because I have no idea what she's talking about with the executive order and the people in the press room and General Mattis and whatever.
About removing the bust of Martin
but she's deflecting.
From the Oval Office. That's just flat out.
She's deflecting is what she's doing. So it's kind of obvious what she's doing. Look at that face. Ugh. So what she's doing right now is she's taking the idea of like, the CNN guy. This is basically the altercation that's happening right now. Your guy lied. But what if you're a liar? You might be a liar too. What? She's trying to make it look like the news media and the press are lying about the shit in the thing. She's deflecting. Now, were they talking about this executive order, yada yada? That's a whole different case. But the fact is, she's just not answering the question. She's dodging.
False. And
it was corrected immediately.
Chuck, why was it said? Chuck, why was it said in the first place? Because everybody is so presumptively negative.
She has a point there. If you're gonna run a story, you should not run the story until you're sure of all the facts. Then again, this is the mainstream media, and mainstream media doesn't care about all the facts. They have their own biases, which is why I don't listen to the mainstream media.
No, that it's okay. No, excuse me. Oh, no. That reporter was writing on behalf of the press pool. That falsehood got spread 3,000 times before it was corrected.
Excuse me.
It does not
excuse, and you did not answer the question.
I did answer your question.
No, you did not.
You didn't. That's not what I asked you. This is basically like, Jimmy, what's 2 plus 2? What's 2 plus 2? Well, that's a good question. If we're gonna ask ourselves about 2 plus 2, we should ask what 2 plus 3 is as well. And then he's just like, you didn't answer the question. No, I did though. I did. No, you didn't. You deflected.
Answer the question of why the
and this is also why I don't like mainstream media because they just
to come out in front of the podium for the first time and utter a falsehood. Why did he do that? It undermines the credibility of the entire White House press office on day one.
Don't be so overly dramatic about it.
Okay, so she just said it does not hurt the credibility of the office to have the spokesperson for the office of the president to go out there and say, meh, false, everything's fake, fake news, wrong angle, there were more people, this is that, and the other. Go out there and lie through their teeth, right? And then she says, that doesn't affect the credibility. When, I'm sorry, but first impressions matter, chick, and, maybe down the line, it'll be better, right? But my first impression of Sean Spicer and the Trump administration in this instance is, they're gonna lie to us. A lot. Or they're gonna at least attempt to lie, and people actually, the mainstream media might do its job for once and actually hold them accountable. Sometimes they get it right. Sometimes they actually don't let them dodge questions and they try to hold them accountable.
You're saying it's a falsehood,
right.
And
it is.
Sean Spicer, our press secretary, gave alternative facts to that. But the point...
Alternative facts! Alternative facts! We live in an age when the mouthpiece for our current president, instead of acknowledging that their administration lied, she's going to sit up there and be like, oh, that's not lying. It was alternative facts. So that means that when I lie to someone, it's not lying. I'm giving them alternative facts. If I shoot someone, No. If I shoot someone with a gun, that's not assault. That's not, attempted murder. That's, alternative firearm practice? Maybe? If I stab someone, that's not assault. That's, alternative cutlery demonstration. Give me a break, woman! Are you nuts? have you got your head up your own ass? Do you hear what you're saying? I mean, or do you just, are you so drunk on the power that is to be around the president? The fact that, oh, I'm with the president, I'm with the president. Yeah. Years later, she's going to be this crotchety old woman who's going to look back with all her money and tell her kids, I was there with Mr. Trump. Yes, I was there. You know, I was somebody important. That's what she's doing.
Wait a minute. Alternative facts? Alternative facts, 4 of the 5 facts he uttered. The one
Chuck,
thing he got right was Zeke Miller. 4 of the 5 facts he uttered were just not true. Look, alternative facts are not facts. They're falsehoods.
Chuck, do you think it's a fact or not that millions of people have lost their plans, their health insurance, and their doctors under President
Deflection.
Obama? Do you think it's a fact?
Okay. She's taking a jab at Obamacare there, and Obamacare has actually helped more people than it's hurt. Now, it's still, you know, fucks with some people, but there are people alive today that wouldn't be if they didn't have Obamacare. And she's just completely deflecting at this point. It's great. She's just completely retarded. She's just going off on this tangent. When confronted, like, she said something stupid, and she has to backpedal and be like, oh, shit, alternative facts, shit, now I sound like a moron. Oh, I know, I will attack the outgoing administration and call people's attention to something else. Ooh, look at the pretty hands, you know. Follow the sultry sound of my voice. You know, watch my hands, like the knee in the nuts.
The fact that everything we heard from these women yesterday happened on the watch of Barack Obama. He was president for 8 years. Donald Trump's been here for about 8 hours. Do you think it's a fact that millions of women...
He just got here. He just got here. Right. He just got here. That's her excuse. And yeah, he needs time to do these things, but the man hasn't been to press briefings. Or, I'm sorry, the man hasn't been to security briefings, right? He's gotten, like, 1 security briefing a week since he's been president-elect, right? And not only that, but she's like, oh, these women, these things happened on Obama's thing, too. Well, I'm pretty sure last time I checked that, Obama didn't say, when you're a star, they let you do whatever they want, and he can grab women by their pussies. Now, I'm not mad about the, you know, and I'm not saying, oh, he said pussies. Oh, he said dirty work. No, it's not that he was vulgar. It was what he said. He admitted to sexual assault, and he's now the president of the United States. Moving on.
2.1 million women, as I stand here before you today, are in poverty along with their kids. Do you think it's a fact that millions don't have health care? Do you think it's a fact that we spent billions of dollars on education in the last 8 years, only to have millions of kids still stuck in schools that fail them every single day? These are the facts that I want the press corps to cover, and this is why I'm here.
So now all of a sudden she's all about policy substance, right? She could have been talking about policy substance at the beginning, but now that she's in a corner, her only weapon is policy substance and deflect, talk about other issues.
Here at the White House,
I understand
to
this.
change
what I don't
awful
understand
numbers
is
like that.
That is not what yesterday was about. So you
Yes,
have not
it is.
answered the question. You did not answer the
It's
question.
what this presidency is going to be about.
It's not what yesterday was about. Yeah, it was. No, it wasn't. It's what it's gonna be about. Woman, do you know context or tense at all? There's past tense, future tense, present tense, okay? And you literally just used past tense and future tense in the same fucking sentence.
Sent the press secretary out there to utter a falsehood on the smallest, pettiest thing.
I don't think anybody can prove the... Look, I actually don't think that... Maybe this is me as a pollster, Chuck, and you know data well. I don't think you can prove those numbers one way or the other. There's no way to really quantify crowds. We all know that.
There's no way to quantify crowds. You can actually hear him laugh. Wait, listen, I'll go back just a few seconds. Listen.
Really quantify crowds. We all know that.
You hear that chuckle? He's laughing. He's literally laughing at how stupid you are, woman. Like, there's no way to quantify crowds. What the fuck does that even mean? Are you saying that you can't count people in a crowd? Are you saying you can't look at the size of one crowd and compare it to another based on the size? There are analysts out there who are paid for this shit. And I'm glad she brings this up because that's what we'll be getting on in a moment. Let's finish the video.
You can laugh at me all you want, but I'm very glad.
I'm
Look,
just
Chuck,
befuddled.
well, but you are, and I think it's actually symbolic of the way we're treated by the press, the way that you just laughed at me.
The way we're treated by the press, the press laughs at the Trump administration. Maybe they wouldn't laugh at you guys if you weren't morons 24 hours a day, okay? Maybe you wouldn't get laughed at if you didn't say shit like alternative facts and you can't quantify the number of people in a crowd. Are you fucking kidding me?
Is actually symbolic of the way, very representative of the way we're treated by the press. I'll just ignore it. I'm bigger than that.
I'll just ignore it. Bitch, you just talked about it and you're saying you're gonna ignore it. That's like me going up to a fucking... Oh my god, this is like me going to McDonald's and I order a Coke, they give me a Pepsi, and I look at them and I say, and as I'm walking with my drink, I look at them and I go, oh yeah, you gave me a Pepsi, but it's fine. I'm fine without my Coke that I ordered. I'm not even gonna bring it up. Passive aggressive much? This woman, she gets me.
News fans, thanks for...
I'm a gracious person right there at the end. Did you hear that? Oh my god. All right. So she said something. Where was it? Hold on. She said something about quantifying crowds.
One way or the other. There's no way to really quantify crowds.
She said there's no way to quantify crowds. Let's go to the New York Times. So the New York Times, you know, these are the guys. This is New York Times, not the New Yorker. I want to make sure I got my facts straight here. We're on the New York Times website, right? This is an article talking about the crowd size. Now, the New York Times was allowed at the inauguration, unlike CNN. So, like, New York Times, New Yorker, Fox News, things like this, Huffington Post, Washington Post, they were allowed there. CNN wasn't, because Trump wasn't feeling it that day, right? So, what happened with, New York Times? These are the guys Trump is okay with, right? So, they must be on Trump's side, right? Well, wrong. They're just stating the facts here. And, and I'm not saying that they're completely 100% correct and whatever. It just seems odd in this entire fight between these two crowd pictures and whatnot that, all these different angled pictures, but no one seems to have actual live video. Like, all of these cameras set up for the inauguration of the fucking president, and you're telling me nobody had a live video shot of all the masses of people in the crowd. Like, and here we go, Bob. Now, if you look over here, we see the giant swath of people. Not as big as Obama, but, still a large crowd. Like, we don't have a video of this. Kind of convenient that neither side is presenting a video. Now, let's look at the pictures, though. So this is the 2009 Obama inauguration, right? Over here. So you can see here's up, if you look at the White House up here, that's not the White House, I'm sorry, but that's like the Senate building. If you look way up there, you can see there's the stage and all that. And there's a bunch of people there, going all the way back, filling the National Mall, just all the way back. And then you look at Trump 2017. So you see there's the same buildings and everything is in the same spot it was. And then you go back. Okay, it starts getting very, very thin around this backside. Now, to be fair, these people were still moving in, so, there could be a disparity in the crowds. So this says, an analysis of news footage appears to indicate that fewer people attended President Trump's inauguration than President Obama's in 2009. Right, that's what everybody's been saying. Now, the footage on this page was captured 45 minutes before each oath of office. So, left side is Obama, 45 minutes before he was sworn in, and right side is Trump, 45 minutes before he's sworn in. So, less than an hour to go, and there's this many people waiting for Obama, this many people waiting for Trump. Okay, sure, I guess. I mean, you got 45 minutes here, you got a army of people, you have a fucking mob, okay? You've got just this horrendous amount of people, and I use horrendous in the same way that people say awesome when they mean something terrible, or the awesome responsibility of something. So look at the amount of people here. It's absolutely staggering. And then you look at Trump's, and it's like, yeah, there's like nobody compared to here. There's like half the people, right? Now, it says attendees were still entering the National Mall up until Mr. Trump's speech. They didn't have to include that line, right? They included that because it's the truth. They didn't include that to cover their own ass. They were including it because they could have just left that part out and continued repeating the rhetoric that everybody else had. But no, they wanted to give the actual details. Like I just said, there's still people entering the mall. Right. So the analysis by Keith Still, a professor at Manchester Metropolitan University in England, estimates that the crowd on the National Mall on Friday was about 1/3 the size of Mr. Obama's. Now, I thought she said you couldn't quantify crowds, that there was no way to truly know how many people were in the crowd. Huh, interesting. Professor Still was a crowd safety consultant for the 2011 royal wedding of Prince William and Kate Middleton. They don't just let anybody be the consultant to the fucking royal family during the royal wedding, okay? This guy knows his shit, okay? And He has also advised the Saudi government on crowds for the Hajj, the annual pilgrimage to Mecca, right? So, I think it's safe to say this guy knows his shit. If the Saudi government is asking him for help organizing one of the largest annual groupings of people in the world, I think he knows what he's talking about. So we'll continue on here. The initial analysis was limited in scope because footage of a large area was not yet available. The number of people on the National Mall is typically a fraction of the total crowd that gathers for a presidential inauguration. Right, okay. And that's very fair. The number, and then in 2009, for example, about 460,000 of the estimated 1.8 million people who attended Obama's inauguration were on the National Mall. So about a third of the people in Obama's crowd were on the National Mall. The rest were like all up front at the stage, and they were attending and they were around. And then they actually have more pictures down here from the other angle, right? So the cloudy skies above this year's inauguration means there will likely be no clear satellite imagery of Washington. Without satellite imagery, it is difficult to make a complete and accurate estimate of the crowd. That's completely fair, right? You can only use these angles. So here on the left, again, Obama's inauguration, you see all these people lined up in these little grid patterns, yada, yada, yada. And then you go back here and you see all these people back into the National Mall. But then you look at Trump's and, you see the people kind of lined up the same way, but there's some gaps. Like on the left side of Trump's picture, there's not the people that are on the left side of Obama's that I'm meaning by the cars on the road there. You can see there's a clear empty space there. Then you go on the right side, and there's actually more people on this side, or I believe those are people. There's more people on this side than are in Trump's. And, this is all about positioning. This is how the people are positioned, right? Where people are standing, and there's like a clear gap of people on the National Mall itself back towards the Washington Monument. So if you look at this, it's clear that Obama, in fact, had more people at his inauguration. I mean, based on your eyes alone, you can tell that, yeah, there were a chunk of people more at Obama's inauguration than Trump. Now, when you look at a picture like this, a chunk of people, I mean, these are pictures taken from up high in the air, so the higher you go, the smaller people will appear, and it's taken from far back, so the farther back you are from something, the smaller it appears. Which means that these giant white swaths you're seeing in the National Mall are huge groups of people missing. Like, you could basically take all the people on the left side of Trump's photo by that green bit there, you see them behind the crosswalk, you take all those people, you put them in the National Mall, they'd probably fill one of those gaps up, right? It's all about positioning. But if you look number to number and kind of draw it out a bit, you can tell that there's a subtraction of mass between Obama's and Trump's, right? There's a difference here. There's a difference. And they even provide us with some maps here. So the maps below show areas of high crowd density in the available imagery. So, these are, of course, made up. They're not in the way that they are doctored, but in the fact that they were created to illustrate a point. So these could be false. We don't know. But they seem to mimic the above photos quite closely. So if you look at the Capitol is the same. The right in front of the stage is the same. The high-density areas are getting a little more sparse, right? They're kind of the same for a few points until you get to about the middle. And then once you start getting more towards the Washington Monument, they get a lot more people in Obama's inauguration than at Trump's. So basically what you have here is a bunch of people that were at Obama's and a bunch of people missing from Trump's. Now, this could be due to the fact that people didn't want to pay for tickets, right? That's reasonable. Me, I'm not going to pay. What do I want to pay to go see a president? Whoopty fucking do, I can see it on TV. Same thing with concerts and this night. Basically, the only thing I go out for in the world is to go see stuff that's in theaters because I don't want to wait for it to come out on DVD. I don't want to wait to see it on TV. I want to go see the movie now because it looks like a good movie. Plus, movies are fun. Anyway, back to the political talk. So you can see by factual evidence. And by your eyesight alone, you can tell there are more people at Obama's inauguration than there are at Trump's. Or there were more at Obama's, talking about the past tense, than there were at Trump's, right? Now, why does this matter? That's the question we need to ask ourselves. Why does this matter? I mean, it can't really be that important, right? It's just people at inauguration. Well, Trump And the mainstream media seem to think it's super important. Now, is it important? Sure, but not as important as they're all making it seem. Oh, there was a large disparity of crowds between Trump and this. Now, if half the people showed up, or if only a third of the people showed up, then wow, I would be stunned. That would be a clear indication that people don't like people. People don't like the new president. But when you have numbers like this, it's just a fact that there were more people at Obama's inauguration than there were at Trump's, and there were, it's clear. So to go on there and have your mouthpiece Sean Spicer and Kellyanne Conway sit up there and lie for you and say that, oh no, they're lying, there weren't less people, there weren't. No, there were less people. Just say, okay, yeah, we had a few less people, but some people didn't want to come out that day. Big deal. It's not important. But this is the thing with Trump, is he lies constantly. He's got a problem with lying. Actually, he doesn't have a problem with lying. He is the god of lying. He knows how to persuade and falsify and get people away from each other. One of the biggest things that I see a problem with is that he would lie about such a minor detail. This is such a minor thing, and yet it's so petty of Trump to sit here and have his staff lie for him. And he even comes out and says, oh, I think we had like 1.5 million people. Yeah. No, you didn't. You might have had 1 million, right? You might have had close to 1 million, but you didn't have near as much as Obama did, right? You had literally hundreds of thousands of people less than Obama did. But, I mean, that's just stupid. It's really just stupid. And that's what frustrates me about the story, is that they would lie and double down on a lie about something so petty that nobody cares anyway. Nobody cares who went to your inauguration. You know what people need to care about? I'll show you what people need to care about. Right. This is what people need to care about. Right here. The Women's March on Washington, right? This was happening not just in America, not just on the East Coast, West Coast, not just in America. It was happening all over the world. There were marches in Europe. There were marches in Canada and stuff. And it was a women's march. Now, whether you agree or disagree with their statement, you have to admit, they had hundreds of thousands of people in the streets. And according to Washington, D.C., right, and the Washington, D.C., the police there, and the L.A. Police Department, right, in both areas, they had between 500 to 700,000 women, right, 500 to 700,000, not women, but supporters of women's rights, protesting in LA. Not a single arrest was made. No one got arrested. No one broke anything. These were peaceful protests. And then you have, pretty much the exact same story in Washington. Hundreds of thousands of people protesting in the streets peacefully. No one was arrested. Nothing happened, right? Now, there were some on the inauguration day, some fringe elements, some rogue rioters that decided those are the guys that cover their face and they don't want to be seen. They cover their face, they dress in black, they smash windows. Those guys, fuck those guys. Arrest those guys, because they are not exercising the right to peaceably assemble. They're exercising their misguided belief that they can just cause anarchy and they won't have repercussions to it. Now, was the whole crowd doing it? No. There were a few people in the crowds yesterday that were protesting not yesterday, I'm sorry, but I'm speaking of yesterday as the difference between the Women's March, which was after the inauguration, and the protest that happened during the inauguration. And there were some people causing some problems, but for the most part, the crowds were not a problem. Yet the cops still hit them with tear gas, this, that, and the other. I'm sitting there like, are you fucking serious? Like, every time I see a protest, I always see the cops, like, taking the smallest advantage. Like, the second one person throws a brick, it's push the line, throw the tear gas, hit them with rubber bullets. I mean, they were shooting rubber bullets at people. Like, I don't think that's necessary. It seems how they run from you because you throw, like, tear gas. You can throw tear gas and have shields. Yeah, they're gonna run away. It's all in the fear tactic, you know? But no, that's stupid that this is getting so much attention, yet no one's talking about the Women's March in Washington or the Women's March in LA that had zero repercussions. Like, it's a bunch of people actually peacefully assembled, protesting and using their First Amendment rights. Not a fucking peep. Not a peep. Let's all talk about the controversy of how many people went to the inauguration. How about we talk about the fact that not only, like, the focus in this country is baffling. People will fight about how many more people were here or there at Trump's inauguration, Obama's inauguration, blah, 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 blah. Shut the fuck up. You know what that sounds like? Do you guys know what you sound like when you fight over who was here, who was there, who was here, who was there? you sound like a retard, okay? Because you're fighting over the wrong thing. It's like politics when they start talking about, oh, this guy cheated on his wife, or this guy's got a record of being pro choice or pro gay or whatever. It's like, what? Where's the policy stuff? Show me policy stuff. What will they do for my taxes? What will they do for my health care? What will they do for my education costs? That's what I want to know. I don't want to hear about if Bill, the senator from Kentucky, had an affair with a homosexual. What? Just what? I don't care. I don't know, but that's it. Oh god, I gotta get her face out of here. I can't look at her anywhere. Oh, she's there again. She's there again. Oh, I'm looking at her. Anyway, that is it for another episode of Mad Millennial Monday. Wow, this went on for a little bit. This might be the longest episode I've ever done, but this just annoys me, right? This is a very just irking topic because this is what's gonna happen for the next 4 years. You're gonna have the mouthpieces of Trump come out and say shit that is blatantly wrong, and I hope the media holds them accountable for once. Like, I hope they double down and they say, no, you're wrong, here's the facts, look at the facts, here's the facts, and the viewers look at that and go, oh, so they are wrong. And not that the media is correct, but the media was correct in that instance. The truth was this, The media told the truth. Does it mean the media is good? It depends on your thoughts on the matter. But when it comes to telling the truth, if the media tells the truth, hey, if you're telling the truth and helping people and you're not having a bias, then good on you. I don't know, but that's it for another episode of Mad Millennial Monday. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, then do the usual. Like, subscribe, check out my streams, and I will see you guys in the next video. Reap the Rager, signing off.